Hey, this is Jenny Jones, Digital Growth Hacks Club. Listen, this has been busy, man. I've been busy. It's getting hard out here on these LTD streets. So we have to start looking at tools that we really need, or we really, do we really need them, or do we really want them? If this is your first time to this channel, please go ahead and like and subscribe. And here's the reason why I want you to like and subscribe, because you never know. I may go live. I may wake up out of bed and I may have a hack that I'm putting two tools together. In this particular case, on this video, I'm going to show you, I'm going to do a review of a couple of tools here. Well, I'm actually going to do one tool and then I'm going to come back later and do another tool. I pulled a couple of tools off the shelf this week. I will tell you some tools that I have on deck. I am going to do a versus with feed space, and then I'm going to do a versus another tool that's here. I am going to do that. That's coming up. I told you I would get more into browser act. It takes some time to get into because I'm not in that space. I'm not doing that right now, but I want to see how valuable that is. If you don't have skill plate yet, shame on you, right? Motion is pretty good. Hadn't had a chance to look at Dart. I have so many project management tools. I don't even know what to do with, but what I want to concentrate with you on today is I want to look at a tool called Puzzle, right? And when you first look at Puzzle is one of those tools that I don't think everybody needs this tool. I think the people that see it and get it, like, yes, this is a tool that I need. I would say out of my audience here, out of a scale from 1 to 10, maybe 4, right? 4 out of 10 people in my audience will look at this tool. Maybe 3 or 4 will look at this tool and they'll say, I can see what this tool does. So let's get into this tool. So what is it, right? You can turn complex processes into visual maps. So I did take a screen capture of the founder showing you fully populated. I don't have mine fully populated, but I wanted to share with you. You guys know I'm a use case guy. I kind of give you vision on what it is you're going to use this tool for. And if you like the tool, obviously you could go to Appsumo by using my code below and purchasing the tool. It's not going to cost you anything additional. It just helps support the channel, allows me to come back and bring you guys these different hacks, these different analysis. All right, so let's get into it, right? So what you see here, right, you see a tool that has a cost portion where you can estimate your cost of paid tools. So now one thing you do need to know, right, and the founder shared this, is we don't have, if it's a sunken cost, if we've already made an LTD, there's no way to capture that cost. They just kind of, and I think they said that they were going to add something close to that, or relatively close to that. You can start looking at least what your sunken cost is of a tool, but it mostly keeps up with tools that you're paying for monthly, which is important, right? No one expects to build their entire enterprise off LTDs. Well, unless you're me or it's a couple other people. But I always like to try to get other tools around. I do have paid tools as well. So that's just one of the things you're going to be able to get with this. So really what is Puzzle? Puzzle is you're taking all your processes from your enterprise and you're mapping them out, and you're looking for inefficiencies, and you're also looking for ways to improve your processes. Now, this is something that you can do. You can have someone can come to you and say, hey, build me out a funnel that's more efficient, or let me take a look at my funnel. And then you can kind of work with them on that as well. One of the things that it does not have, and they said it's coming, right? And I appreciate the fact that they say, hey, it's coming. And the reason why they've been around since 2020. So since 2020, I mean, it's 2025 now. So it's 5 years. That's a lifetime in this world, right? But what I'm seeing is this is a very, very unique tool. I've never seen anything like it. You can sync all the information in real time. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to do definitely a breakout for you, and I'll give you the ideas and kind of give you the vision on what this tool does. At a glance, it's alternative to Figma, right? It integrates with HubSpot, Make, and Zapier. I think somebody asked, was Pabbly coming, right? I don't know if Pabbly's coming or Active Pieces. I know, to me, it looks like they're trying to make the tool better. And these are just integrations. Again, these are integrations. If you go back to 2020, right? If you go back to 2020, I think these integrations were pretty hot. We have so many more integrations now. It's not even funny, right? And it's best for consultants, right? IT security agencies, marketing agencies. So if you're a digital marketer, I'm going to repeat this. If you are a digital marketer, this is a must-have tool. That's why I said this tool is not going to meet everybody. You may be doing something else. You may be doing something else. So you may not have the opportunity to be able to do that. So I just believe that if you're a digital marketer, this is a tool that you need to have in your arsenal and your stack. Now, let's look at, we've seen enough of this. We're going to get into the inside of it. And what the integrations do is they can take your Zaps or all your different steps and they can import those in, and then you'll see where you can kind of line those up. So it does that. It does a direct integration connect with that. So that helps you, right? And then you can slash hidden costs of SaaS bloat. Now, in a world where you don't have LTDs, this is very important. And I'm going to show you I do have some paid tools, so you'll be able to take a look at that as I show you what my setup is. Now, let's look at what's the right plan for you. Let's take a breakdown and look at this, right? So if it is just you, right, you just want to do if it's just you're not going to use it anywhere else. I don't think to me, this tool really stands heads and shoulders at the tier 3. And I'm going to explain to you the reason why. It's because if you can't get process costing, which this is a very tightly woven deal, tier 3 is the only one that really makes sense. The rest of these are just they're nice to haves, right? You don't really need all of that. But really what you really need in all of this is process costing. Process costing is the key. The rest of these you can probably live without. You can really live without, right? But you can't live without tool cost tracking and then process costing. So these two go together because you're going to see that. So this is a tough deal. I can't name this one. And it really depends on if you're a digital marketer. If you're a true digital marketer, you're going to see this right away. And I'm going to explain to you the reason why. So this is a tough one to call. But what I would say is tier 3 is really the way. It's really the way to go. The rest of this stuff, you can do unlimited objects, unlimited workspaces, so on and so forth. But the real beauty of this is to have the tool cost tracking and the process costing, right? Entities and attributes is definitely important. It's like, what does this tool do? Is it a emailer? Is it used for your website tracking? You're going to really need those. And then list view. This tool is really designed to sell all tier 3s. I'm telling you, because I did pull it off the shelf and I had a tier 2 and I just couldn't really, to me, I was like, this is not really that good without these pieces here. And I immediately upgraded and I saw the value. I was like, oh, that's what we're doing here. So I'm going to break down these. Someone asked, and I have a good breakdown from the founder. So we'll talk about it here. So what is list view filters? Person says, do I really need tier 3? So I have the founder from the breakdown, I have his questions right here. And someone asked, it says, hey, listen, someone asked, says, hey, what are someone went through the tier 3 features, right? What are list view filters? List view filters. This feature allows you to query the workflow canvas to pull up specific steps by tool used, role involved, whether it's an AI step or manual step, sort by most costly step, etc. It's valuable because you can filter, sort, query which steps in your process you can work diagram. The reason why that's important is because once you build it, this map can contain an entire freaking map of how the internet works. It's just really, it's so much information. But once your map gets really large, once your puzzle gets really large, you want to be able to go to specific steps. And that's what that's going to allow you to do. So one of the second questions was conditional coloring, right? It's like, what is conditional coloring, right? So we'll come back here And so conditional coloring is when you're presenting workflows to clients on calls, sales calls or scoping calls, you're commonly telling people multiple stories like, here are all the automations we're using, right? Here is where the sales rep steps into the process. Here's where you're using HubSpot, Zapier, and MailChimp. This is like I said, this is a consulting type of marketing, digital marketing type of tool, right? And they're saying traditional diagrams, they use swim lanes and one color keys. This kind of helps you break down. All your automations are in blue. All your automations are in green. This is in blue, and these are all of your Zaps and all that stuff's in red. Because if we have a breakdown on that, we're gonna have a problem. So to kind of break that down, it shows it from a visual standpoint. Tool cost tracking, we talked about that. This feature allows you to input the amount that you're spending on each individual tool in the tool canvas. There you can see how much you're spending on each tool right next to what you're using the tool for in a business operation. So this is if you got to cut costs, right? Person says, oh man, we lost a big client. We got to cut costs. Where can we afford to cut costs? This is going to immediately tell you that, right? Because it has the tool tracking. And again, it's tracking monthly or annually cost for that associated tool, right? And I think some people are asking, hey, what if I built a tool? What if it's open source and all that? And I think they're said that they're working on a way that they're going to be able to allow us to kind of track that cost. I don't think it's on the roadmap. I don't think it's immediately there. But they did say that they are working on it, right? Entities and attributes, a lightweight data model inside of your maps to define key business objects. Is it a lead, opportunity, ticket, invoice, and their attribute fields? Then show where each field is used across steps and automations. And then the last one, process costing. This feature allows you to calculate the labor cost and tool costs involved in a specific process when you map it in a workflow. So if that's a workflow that you use, and you have to use outside digital marketers, you have to use outside costs. Is it a certain cost associated with that? This helps qualify efficiencies that you introduce a process when you look for the current state versus future state process, right? So that's kind of what that breakdown is here. And we're going to go look at the tool here. That's what this is getting. To me, this is the meat of this tool. These other two you will be thoroughly disappointed. And I don't like saying that. I kind of want to find an entry for a lot of people. I do have a person I was listening to. We're kind of having a conversation. He can get away with a tier 1 because he's not going to use it in a traditional way. He's just going to use it where he can kind of mind map and put things together. Inside of there, he can put a couple of looms in there. He can say, hey, here's what happened. Here's the process, but here's where it breaks down. Let me do a video and let me tell you where it broke down and why it broke down. So you can create it. So you can get away with a tier 1. But if you're going to use it for traditional digital marketing, now what I'll tell you is I'm going to get into the tool, right? And again, it says from chaos to clarity. I have a lot of tools going on, and I think this is the reason why I fell in love with it when I first seen it, is because let me explain to you as we move into the tool here. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to look out for my Black Friday deal room that's coming up. So you definitely want to take advantage of that. There's going to be some tools there. There's going to be some founders there, and we're going to do some different things. Now, all right. So, what I wanted to do was I wanted to show you this is my challenge, right? And this is why this works for me. Not only will it just work for me because I'm very unique, right? I run and manage 3 different companies, right? 2 LLCs, 1 corporation. I'm a busy dude, right? But I run lots of brands. So even if I had 1 LLC, this would still work with multiple brands. So what's going to probably happen is you have to, like I said, you have to understand that if you have multiple brands, I run a digital empire, right? I'm up to about 37 revenue streams right now, right? Amongst all of my brands. The most are here, second most are here, and this corp just came online, and there's 2 revenue streams from this corp already. So because I have everything in my head, and I try to do it on a spreadsheet. I try to do it with some of the mind maps. but this is giving me a little bit extra. And do I really need this tool? Do you really need this tool? You do not really need this tool, right? If you've ever been in my workshop, the Digital Real Estate Masterclass, I'm showing people how to build an entire digital real estate. You have digital assets all over. You got them on podcasts. You got them on apps, right? You phone apps. You got them on blogs. You got them on YouTube. You got them in courses and classes. I have a lot of assets. So for me to track the assets, this is a powerful tool. Again, I don't think everybody's going to need this tool, but I kind of want to give you the vision on how this tool how it kind of gets down. So this is me. This is my workspace. This is Jones Companies, right? And so I can go through and I'm building each tool, each workspace or each canvas to show all my processes and or tools for each particular company. So let's look at JG, right? It's one. So you go here, you go to, I click on it. So each one you click on, you're going to get different things, right? And I haven't really started building out the rest of them. But when you click on it, when you highlight it and click on it, I have 8 sections, right? And I'll talk about sections. Then I have a process of 20 steps. I'm going to show you a small video of what the founder, what his looks like build out. You're going to see that at the end. And I just kind of took a snippet of what he had because he has an entire puzzle on there. So he has about 300 sections and 400 steps, and this is just me. I'm giving you what it looks like at the beginning stages. I'll show you at the end of this video of what it looks like kind of fully built out. So and I'm using 31 tools inside here. So this particular one I have 7 tools in here, and then this one I have 2 tools. And again, that's about the size and strength. I have a lot more, but right now that's about the size of my operations when I look at those, right? So you come here, you open the workspace and it zooms out like this. So this is my workflow, right? Let me go back and you're going to see his. Once you see his, he has a full map puzzle of just hundreds of sections. I've kind of have my sections lined up and I'm using them as ecosystems or revenue centers, right? So this is my digital growth hacks ecosystem, digital marketing tool system. These are my academies. These are my communities. These are the agencies that I run. And this is a full system that I'm bringing online. Right here, this is a whole nother system that connects another system. These are all of my kind of I can't even think right now. My DB or my, I can't even think right now. Sorry about that. My BD, my brilliant directories, because this is a complex system that I'm building out. So this is kind of my brilliant directory system that I have here, that I'm building out. And this is more of a sell done here. This is a BD, and then this is a BD. This is a larger BD that's going to lead to sales here on my other BD, and then sales here in my sell done. So that's this so these are ecosystems that I'm counting, but there's multiple streams inside of each ecosystem, and I'm not done. This is only maybe 10-15% of what I'm building, but this gives me a good visual. Now, so this is zoomed out, right? And what I like about it is you can zoom it out and you can move pieces on the board. When you click on each board, this is my academy. So obviously, Stream Studio is in there, and this is the new Stream Studio AI, by the way. And then this is easy course for my academies. And then I can click on this for my communities, right? I haven't started building that one out yet, and I haven't started building out my agencies yet. I started working on those last night. But when I click on my digital growth hacks, I'm using Discord, Heartbeat, Skill Play, right? Those are some of the tools that I'm using in there. Then in my digital marketing tool shed, I haven't really built that one out yet. And then these other ones, they have brilliant directories. And then I have some newsletters here. All of them are using brilliant directories. This one's using Seldon. So I can see that from afar. Now, that's how that looks. Now let's zoom in. Let's take a look at it, right? As you zoom in, it starts to reveal what's going on. So here I have my YouTube stuff. I have my access people come in, my different ecosystems, different things like that, right? And you can zoom in and you can see what it's doing. Now, what I say is hey, a person wants to go deeper, a person wants to go further than in my ecosystem. There's what they can do here is they can go self-paced growth through my system. They can join any one of my 2 academies here. And if they want to go with a cohort growth, then they can go in any one of my communities here. So it gives me a visual. Again, if you are in my class or if you've ever been in my class, the Digital Real Estate Masterclass, this is exactly what I teach. So if you're in my classes, I highly recommend this tool because it's going to give you a visual map, visual representation of what it is you're doing. Now, let's show how we build these, right? So how you build them, right? I just wanted to show you really quick. How you build them is you build a section. So we'll go here, build a section here. We'll call this section, let's call this section, I don't know, podcast. I don't know, just writing something here. All right. So I may have podcasts. I may do something where I'm running ads or something like that. So let's do a podcast. We'll call that podcast. Now, inside of there, I may say, hey, all right, let me add a step in there, a process step, right? And so here I might go here and I might say, hey, you know what? Put my hero right here, my hero.fm here. I'll go here, add tool, and I'll look for hero. We'll come back to this. Here's my hero right here. We'll add that in there. So hero's there, right? And then from hero, I might say, well, a person comes in, then I may want to add them to a newsletter, right? So the type is email, right? See the email showed up there. And then my newsletter, I might use Beehive. Make sure you guys use my link if you use Beehive. I can show you how to make so much money in Beehive. All right, so that's the newsletter there. Here, right here, this may be an automated process. So I can put automated here. Adding them to the newsletter, this may be a manual process, or I'll just put a person adds them here. So this is kind of how this works. So this is my podcast, right? And then I can come and I can do different things associated with that. So I just wanted to give you, and let's zoom out here. And that's where it would sit in my world, in my ecosystem. So if you are a digital marketer or you want to build out a digital real estate, this is me, right? And again, if you guys have been following me for any time, you know that I was a real estate investor. My challenge of being a real estate investor is I had to be on site at every single job, and it was costing me money other places, because if you're not on site, then your contractors have a tendency to lag or not show up. And time was always money in real estate. And I wanted to transition out of that. See, that was probably one of the best decisions that I made. I would make lump sums of money, but I didn't have cash flow running through my hands. So it was more of long money, it wasn't short money. I needed something to make short money and long money, and transitioning to digital real estate satisfy that for me. So I can still have my own real estate map here. I can just manage all of my digital properties from my office. I don't have to be on site, losing money, driving from site to site, so on and so forth. So that's kind of how it works out. So this, again, from afar, I can say these are my different ecosystems. So when I'm done, it's going to probably have about 8 ecosystems here, each one of them generating their own revenue. And again, this will be part of my new, I'm going to add this to my masterclass because this is a must-have tool. Now, I can take this podcast and this is, all right, well, that's a different ecosystem. I'll add it here, right? And we can go on and go from there. So if you scale out, this is what you see. You says, hey, I got academies. These are all my different ecosystems here, and I can go to any one ecosystem at any one time. I can go here. So let's click on this ecosystem, and I can go there, and I can zoom right in, right? And you can look at that. Okay, so that's kind of how that works. I wanted to show you. Okay, so that's how that works. Now, so with anything in your system, your enterprise, you have a large company or something like that. I got to come back and delete that podcasting. You can manage, you can do the same thing with teams. You can do the same thing with people, right? These are different people. So you can add, Tom here, right? You can go, hey, this is Tom, right? This is his role, so on and so forth. So you can manage them the same way. And then you can put Tom into a team. Tom, you can say, hey, you know what? Let me add Tom to this team, so on and so forth. So you can manage your workflows. You can manage your teams. You can manage your people. And I don't think a lot of people knew that. They were just looking at it. Hey, I can manage. It talks about the tools and it talks about the workflows. It doesn't really talk about teams or people on the Appsumo. But this is just important. You can do that as well. Because you may have a person who says, okay, so what is your role? What are you doing, right? I'm going to add you to a process because I need to cover my costs. This is getting into the woods and the details, but you can do that. So let's look at tools, right? As we kind of bring this to a close. So these are the kind of the tools, and this is the way I'm using this, right? This is nowhere a reflection of the tools I have. I have probably 700-800 tools, but I'm using the tools that are relevant to me. And most of the tools that I have, and a lot of people don't know that, it's like, man, I pay for tools. People's like, oh man, Jenny's building this whole empire of LTDs. You're a fool if you are doing that, right? I don't want to get hung up on that. But there are some tools that I really, really have to make my entire ecosystem go. So the way I kind of did this here is I'm zoomed out now, but the way I kind of put my tools together here, let's zoom in here. So what I have here, and you can see here, I have my podcasting, my blogs, my newsletters. I kind of keep those together. These are what I have at the top. These are all entries, right? Entries into my ecosystem, right? This is mostly inbound marketing type of stuff that I use. If you know me, you know I'm an inbound marketer. That's what I do. That's what I teach all my students and all my clients. I don't get to ads until I have a fully functional funnel and it's something that's converting, that a true need is being met and that people can't resist, or the irresistible offer, or our Mosey type of offering that people are stupid that they will not take. And then once that's dialed in with the actual funnel, then I will move to ads. And I may be moving into ads maybe mid 2026, but ads are not. I do all organic inbound traffic. That's what keeps my costs low. That's what keeps me more profitable. That's how I get to six figures, is because I'll buy LTDs, I'll roll them out, and you can see here all the zero costs, all these tools I have. Look at all these zero cost tools. And then there's some that I can't live with that helps me grow my business in other ways, right? So the way I laid mine out, and again, if you're in my digital real estate masterclass, you're going to see I have all my inbound stuff here. Then I go to, all right, once a person hits me, once I bring them into my ecosystem, I'm either going to bring them in through a landing page, I'm going to bring them in through hosting, streaming, or we're going to bring them in through a conference or an event. I got my Hey Summits here, my events, my Remo. I got my Gumlet, right, for video, Stream Studio. I got my Breezy here for landing pages, my Sam cart. And so then once they get in there, then I get them into a CRM tool. I got the Tarvin here. I got the VBout, InCharge. The best thing about this is these are all zero costs. I don't have to pay for these. These are not recurring costs. Then my learning management systems, my easy course, my skill plate, my online course host, then my community tools, Stream Studio AI, Brilliant Directories, and Heartbeat. Then I have some workflow tools here, and I'm only showing you the visual of how you can manage this. I have my workflow tools. I'm paying for Appsumo, so that's a cost that I wanted to track. My TidyCal, these are workflows, right? Encrypt my work. And then I got some LMM tools, some Gamma, Perplexity, Abacus 11 Labs. So those are tools that I'm tracking. These are all costs I'm kind of tracking, so I have to know. So that's kind of, and the way you can do this any way you want, right? You don't have to do even what I did. This is just a good organizational way for me to use it. But you have to have your tools. So let me give you an example, right? So you can say, all right, so let's look at a tool like, I don't know. Let's see if it's in here. So what if I was paying for, actually I am paying for Superbase. So let me put that in there. So I have Superbase in there because now that I'm doing some tools, I add Superbase here, but I want Superbase to be down here. Maybe. I don't know if I'm going to keep it in the LMM tools, because when I'm building out things with my Gamma or not my Gamma, but when I'm building out things with some of my LMM tools that I'm using to build out apps, I am using a Superbase. All right, before I forget, I want to just show you just some real quick snapshots of what the founder was doing as he was explaining. So what he was doing here, he's drilling in and how you can have these if then conditions. If the person wants to do this, then a person can say yes. And if they don't, they can so no. Now, this is theirs. It has 484 steps, 62 sections, 482 connections, and see how he's drilling, see how big the map is. It's thousands and thousands of processes from your operations. And I just took this and I was like, this is how actually mine would probably even be 1/3 of this, but this is about the size of it. And this is the power that you can do with this tool. There's so many processes, and you just click, then you can just drill in that process, that particular ecosystem. What happened? Do we have enough? What are the processes supposed to happen? This is how you run a digital enterprise. That's why I'm so fascinated with this tool. And you can actually, for each process, you can go and insert a Loom video, which you can really pretty much embed. There's no storage areas, things like that, but it's really mostly embedding. And he was just saying embedding a lot of Loom. So I don't know if you can embed any tools, any other tools or anything like that. So that's what I wanted to give you to connect that with. So Superbase is here. And let's say I'm paying, I don't know, $40 a month. So we'll just put that in there. So I'm really paying $480 a year for my Superbase, right? And it's just how you can look at it and calculate the cost. So now my monthly cost is $124, right? And an annual cost of $1,487. But you got to think, if I'm making six figures, my overall cost is low because I have all these. And people say, "Oh man, why do you have all these LTDs?" Because I can generate income for one-time costs, right? And that's one of the things that I think is very powerful in using LTDs. And now that I'm looking at LTDs, I look at them a little bit differently. When I first started doing LTDs, I looked at them with a different set of lenses. Now that some are going under, some are having struggles, I look at a tool and say, hey, will I pay for this tool? Will the actual person pay for this tool? The other thing that I look at is, how are the companies marketing themselves? If they're using a lot of affiliates, they have a good chance. If they're using affiliates on a good tool that people want to share the tool, there are some tools, and I'll be honest with you, there are some tools that even though you have a good LTD, even though you have a good affiliate program, founders out there, even though you have a good affiliate program, some people just don't want to share the tool because they don't want anybody else to know about the juice. That's something I found. There's a lot of tools I have. I don't want everybody to know that I'm using this, or that I'm putting this kind of seasoning in my gumbo, or this type of sausage in my spaghetti. I don't want everybody to know, so I may not share with them. But there are some people I do share with. If you're in part of my communities or any one of the communities, I always give you the inside juice of the things that I'm sharing, but I don't put that out on the public domain a lot of times, right? I just don't, even though I really, really like the tool. And that's what some people struggle with. The biggest red flag for me, and I'll tell you my biggest red flag, and it has always been my red flag, and I've always come true to this, is you have to be careful of companies spending a lot of money on ads. You just have to, because ads will eat into your profits. They will, especially in an economy like this. They're very compulsive, and the compulsive have to generate revenue for someone immediately. They have to see it. Most of the innovative tools that are coming out, people cannot see the revenue generating portion immediately, and they're not going to be able to see it through an ad. But I really get very eerie of people that just use nothing but ads. I just think that's fool's gold. And so I'll see a company, then if I see them running ads on Facebook, I'm like, I don't know. And definitely if they're running an LTD ad, that's just fool's gold, right? Those are some things I've found to be true 100% of the time. If you are an LTD and you're on Appsumo, then you're running an LTD ad on Facebook. That's just a matter of time for that catches up with you, because that money, that's money you're gonna eventually run out of that money, right? And that's short money. It's not long money. And if you take in any one of my classes, I talk about short money, long money. I talk about the dairy cow, the beef cow. There's a lot of concepts just for me being a finance guy, understanding cost centers, understanding revenue and tracking revenues and inventory and ROI. You're going to run out of money if you're only doing short money. So anyway, that's kind of the gist of what this tool is. You can share the tool. Let me go back and let me share. Let me see if I can show you how to share the tool. So we'll go here. Let's dig into this one. Let me just show you really how to share the tool. You click there. These are all again, I love how when I click on it, it just zooms. Or if I click on like the ecosystem or something like that, then I click on it and it just zooms in. This is cool. All right, so how to share it, right? You go here, you create these shareable views, right? So you click on this. I want to share that, and I go, okay, so add the sections. I'll do a new view. So we'll call this one, I don't know which section I pulled out on, but we'll call this the podcast section, right? And we'll go podcast section here. And then I can go, this is a section, and this is if I'm doing this as a consultant, this is a section where we show all of your podcast revenue. So we do that, and we'll click share here. Now you have to add sections to it. So that's the podcast section. We'll go here, and then let me see how you do that. You go here. I just wanted to show you. You got to add the sections. So you add the name, and this is the podcast. I did one earlier. You add the name, then we go here, add the sections. Now you can share whatever you want to. So from here, we go here. All right, so here we wanted to share the podcast section, right? And let's add another section. As I explain it to you, or as I share it with you, you'll see it if I send you the link. So we'll go add sections here, and we'll come back and say, I want to show you the podcast section, but I want to show you the communities that go with it as well. So we'll go there, and there you go. So now let's visit the shareable link. So this is what you would share with someone. It's not on your team or someone that you want to see it. So when a person comes here, and again, it's really weird because that section's up here and then that section's down here. And this is what you're sharing. And this is what they would get. And they would just be able to see it, and they'd be able to zoom into it. And so a person would be able to see this, and then this is all they would get. They would get the community section and the podcast section. And then you share that with them. They're going to see puzzle and all that other stuff. I don't know it's up to you. I don't know how Puzzle would do that. I think they're supposed to get their own domain. They said that's something that would be on there. I just think that they're switching gears. They're wanting to get more into the small business ecosystem. This may have been something that they sold at an enterprise level, which I can see this is an enterprise tool. And now they're getting into the SMB, and we're concerned with domains. We're concerned with, hey, if we're going to be a consultant, let's be a real consultant. Let's not use Puzzle. Let's use our domain and stuff like that. So yeah, those are things, right? You have to get used to, but I think from the feedback, they're getting that and they're understanding that. So again, this is what a person would do. So again, hey, if you like this demo, you like this vision, use my link in the description below. I'm actually going to put a link in there to the waiting list of my Digital Real Estate Masterclass, which is my best signature class. I normally run that once a year. I only run it once a year. It's so big. The class is 4 hours. I'm teaching you from start to finish how to build your digital empire. So if you're part of my community in any shape, form, or fashion, I'm always going to give you a discount, but it is one of my best, most intense classes. And I show you how to build your own just your digital empire. So a lot of people are like, oh, Jenny, man, how did you build all your streams? How did you, this is what I do. I build ecosystems. I build revenue generating systems. That's what I do. So a lot of people do. That's why I'm looking at certain tools on Appsumo. Again, Appsumo, there's a lot of tools on Appsumo, right? There's a lot of tools on Appsumo, right? We can go here, but which tools are the best tools for you to build ecosystems from? Let me give you a secret tool. This tool, before you leave, and I always like to give stuff at the end because people always, they leave. I was like, okay, you missed out. Email it. Email it is hidden gold. I'm going to cover this in a few weeks, and you're going to be surprised. You're like, what? Email it. I'm telling you, you didn't come here for that today, but I'm telling you, when I showcase this tool for you, you're going to flip out. All right. So, hey, this has been Jenny Jones. You got to lock into my channel. I'm always coming up with good stuff. This is going to be a juicy one. I promise you. I do have the Confectious green sugar hack pack is coming as well. Got to get on the newsletter. Should be a link in the description for that. That's going to drop. That's going to blow a lot of people away. Other than that, I am going to take Yapper out for a spin. We'll take a look and see what that does. And we'll go from there. Hey, you guys have been great. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. This is a while, but this is a deep one. I'll try to put chapters in. All right. You guys take care. Goodbye for now.